Hello, welcome to the Scale Modelling Cafe. Welcome to this week's update. Thought I'd zoom out a little bit this time and just see what difference that makes, just so you can see a little bit more of the bench, but there we are. As is traditional, got my standard running order here. We'll talk about the channel first. And as I explained last week, I am delaying the videos of the current project, the Spitfire Mark 12, because I want to get more down the line in that project before I start editing and bringing the videos to you, just so it's a little bit more seamless, and then I'm ahead of the game. That's the aim. I'm kind of planning that hopefully if I can get ahead in things, then I can bring you stuff over Christmas, which I know, crikey, we're only in the beginning of November, but I've got 2 weeks at home and I'd like to bring modelling content over Christmas if I can. That's the plan. Whether it works out or not, I don't know. Remains to be seen. But yeah, more on the Spitfire in a moment. What I'm going to do then in lieu of that is start putting up some more sprue tours. So the first one goes up on Sunday, so tomorrow as I film this. And that is on the Armour Hobby P39. So just offering my thoughts. Clearly, unfortunately, you know, the kit's been out a little while. Other people have done their own reviews and things like that, and there's probably even 1 or 2 builds up. And yeah, apologies for Armour for the delay, but you know, I got stuck at home, frankly, for 5 weeks with the old gammy shoulder. So that's been the delay. I finally got around to videoing it and editing it, so that'll come up next week, and then I'll issue a few more as we go along. Okay, update on the project then. And rather than start with the cockpit, I thought I'd start with the wings on the Spitfire. Couple of reasons really. One, this is one of the main areas of the conversion for the Mark 12. The base kit is the Tamiya Mark 9. That's I think then, is it the Mark 8, Mark 9? This one's the Mark 9. And to that end, the bottom oil cooler has to be changed for the earlier sort of Mark 5 cooler. Not a particularly onerous job, actually. The Laminar Flow Designs conversion parts just slot straight in, just one cut really. And it's a drop-in replacement. Really pleased with how that went. One thing that's a little bit more of a challenge are the clipped wings. Now, I know what some of you might be saying, and that is, but Jamie, the clipped wings are included in the kit. They're on the clear sprue, and that is true. But the Mark 12 had different shape clipped wings. They weren't the standard clip wing. They didn't have any lights, and because of that, they are kind of straight in profile. So if you I'll stick a picture up there in the corner, but what it means is that you can't use those because they're tapered. They're wider at the front where the bulb is, and obviously narrow at the back. Whereas if you look carefully at some of the period pictures, the Mark 12, it's, you know, pretty much flat, parallel with all the panel lines, the kind of 4/2 parallel panel lines. Therefore, you need a different strategy. Now, chap Dave I met at the IPMS Lincoln model show, he had a whole load of Laminar Flow Design conversions that he'd done, one of them being the Mark 12. He actually alerted me to the shape of the wingtips. And he said, well, just get some thick plastic card, glue it on, and then sand it to shape. And yeah, you can do that. What I preferred to do actually, and what I think was easier, was use the standard tips, cut them down, fill the hole in the middle with filler, and then sand that to shape. And that way you've got the contour of the wingtip already built in, so you don't have to sand that, with the potential of potentially losing a little bit of detail on the wing. That's what I did. It worked well, and I'm very pleased with it. So that's the wings, the completed wings. I'll just put that back without trying to twat the microphone. What I have on the bench is the cockpit, and here's the seat, for example. And I've done a lot of detailing in the cockpit. I've used Barracuda Studios bits and pieces. The seat, one of the lower sidewalls, that's the right hand sidewalls. I've used MDC oxygen hose. I've got a whole load of wiring to put in there. I'm using the Red Fox Studios 3D printed instrument panel, HGW seat harness, which I need to do. I'm doing that tonight. That's tedious, but it's going to look really good when it's done, I'm sure. And I'm just waiting for the wash to dry before cleaning that up. Then I'll shoot it with a whole load of matte varnish, do the harness, bring it together. I can glue all the bits and pieces together, and the cockpit, if not finished tonight, will be done over the next couple of days, and then I can glue the fuselage together. Talking of the fuselage, I've done a test fit of the laminar flow design nose, and it fits beautifully. I've also modified the spinner so it, rather than using all the 3D printed bits, I just use magnets, and it just literally clicks into place and is held there. That's going to be really useful for me when I transport this back home. Well, there you are. So lots of work going on that particular model. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think it's a beautiful conversion. Actually, I should have mentioned, when I ordered one of the sets, I ordered the cockpit detail set for it as well. And what Matthew does is, if you order one of those, if he's got any sort of failed prints that sort of failed the QC check, he'll bung that in as well. So it's not, all the parts are completely useless, but, you might be able to use some bonus extra parts. And that's what I've done. In fact, I couldn't really find anything wrong with the set that I've got. I'm sure there's some QC issue in there somewhere, but I don't know what it is. So I've used some of the bits and pieces for that in this cockpit. Now, this cockpit is based on it's a Mark 9 fuselage. So the cockpit has, it's essentially a Mark 9 cockpit with some other bits and pieces. But the throttle quadrant is just utterly amazing. It works. You can move the levers. It's amazing. Likewise for the undercarriage retraction jobby. Even the where the wires come out, there's little holes already sort of printed in there, and just the finesse is off the chart. So it's just simple. You just super glue your wire in, and away you go. No drillage required at all. It's absolutely amazing. So even if you got a Mark 8, Mark 9 from Tamiya or Mark 16, go out and buy the Laminar Flow Designs cockpit update set for the 14, and you'll have really useful bits in there. Like the cockpit door is just genius. I am using some of the Barracuda bits and pieces as well. I kind of just want the ultimate cockpit, and so far I'm really pleased with how that's looking. So there is a update on the current project. It's moving along. Right, on to the news. And before I get into the sort of meat in the news, obviously we've had some really exciting news coming out of Airfix. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Matt Nichols of the West Midlands Police Force Model Club. They and Matt donated the Qatari Spitfire that was on the channel not that long ago, actually. So they donated the kit, which obviously I built, sold to a friend of mine for a very generous price, and that will be appearing in a magazine, Air Modeler, soon, and the proceeds for that will go into the charity pot as well. And they nominated the girls' charity, which is Whiz Kids, and they are fundraising for them. It's a charity close to the heart. I know I've mentioned it before. I'll stick a link in the bottom. They're very close to their target now, and they are running the London Marathon in aid of this charity, which helps children and young people that are wheelchair users and their families. So very worthwhile. And as I said, Matt and his crew nominated the charity as one of their annual charities, and they made a very generous donation to the cause. So shout out to those guys and the West Midlands Police Model Club. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure they're enjoying Telford as we speak. Talking of Telford, right, that's on this weekend. Clearly I'm here and not there, which is a real shame. Comes with the job, I suppose. But yeah, some news coming out of there is Airfix have announced a new tool 148 scale Seeking HC4. That's the Jungly. And they've also announced a new tool 148 scale Lysander. Now, I'm not going to go into that now because yesterday I actually did a separate video on that. I'll stick a thing up here, thing at the end, so you can go and watch that if you haven't. It's just my reaction to it. Suffice to say, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, like I say, I'm not going to say any more here. All my thoughts are in it's about 10 minutes, not that long, video, which I'll link at the end. Right, I've mentioned Laminar Flow Design already, because clearly I'm using one of their sets right now. I've got the Mark, as I mentioned last week, I've got the Mark 5C conversion set for the Spitfire Mark 9, which I've got another Mark 9 at home, and that's going to be for that. So that's, if it's not at home already, it's imminently at home. If one of my friends is going away and then coming back before Christmas, then I'll get them to bring it out so I can review that for you. But more likely, I'll end up reviewing that when I get back after Christmas. And bear in mind, Christmas is only, what, 6 weeks away? Something like that. And Matthew of Laminar Flow Designs has put up pictures of his 124 scale conversion, which is moving along at pace. So that's the next one in the pipeline that's coming along. Obviously, it's designed for the Airfix 24 scale kit, which is a beautiful kit from what I can see. Yes, you're not going to be able to use the engine, but, you know, who displays an engine on a model? I mean, frankly, it just ruins the lines, doesn't it? But, yeah, I know. Before anyone chucks spears, I've done brass-in engines before, and I think they look great. As long as I've got another aeroplane next to it, which is all buttoned up, so you can see the lines properly. But, yeah, there we go. That looks fabulous. And I'm hoping that I'll probably get one of those as well. And then eventually I'll end up doing a 24 scale Spitfire Mark 14, which I think will look utterly amazing. Right, and the last one to talk about is, again, Armour Hobby. Again, it's a P39, this time the Recce version. Obviously, recently they announced the Recce version of the Hurricane, which is out now. Some lovely schemes in that. And they've done the same with the P39. Again, some lovely schemes for the Armour P39 in the Recce versions. 3D printed conversion parts, some really nice decals, and something a little bit out of the ordinary, which I really like. So, you know, well done, Armour. Brilliant. And there we are. That is the end of the news. So quite a short news. Quite a short weekly update, but I've done lots of modelling, which is great. Fabulous to get back into that properly after so much time away, and some really exciting news coming out at Airfix. So yeah, you can go and watch my reaction as well. Shout out to Moz. I can never remember the number, Moz 1685 or something. Sorry, Moz, for getting that wrong. Again, I'll stick a link at the end. Moz did a live Q&A with Dale Luckhurst, who's brand manager for Airfix, live from Telford yesterday, setting up. Really, really interesting chat. Clearly, Dale didn't give any things away for what else might be coming. Apart from, he did say there's nothing else this year. Unfortunately, the starter set for the Typhoon, Eurofighter Typhoon, is delayed. That was beyond their control. That's going to be out in January, they're hoping. But a really good insight into some really pertinent Airfix issues like the QC issue, and how they're addressing that, and they are addressing that, and some background behind that, some background behind some of the choices and why they've chosen certain new toolkits and why they're choosing certain classic of the vintage classics, and why they're choosing those, and some of the time scales and things like that. Really interesting chat, and Dale was very forthcoming. Now Dale and the gang have invited me down to go down to Margate and do some of their Sprue Talk, or do one of their Sprue Talk episodes. I'm hoping that when I go home at Ramadan, I'll be able to get down to Margate and we can align diaries and get that done, because that would be brilliant. I'd love to go down there, have a bit of a tour, meet the guys down there, and and have a chat on their channel. That would be absolutely fantastic. I'm really hoping I can make that happen in Ramadan. So Ramadan is essentially March next year. It's all of March and first week of April. There we are. Right. Having said it's a fairly short one. I've gone and waffled on for an extra 5 minutes at the end there. Call it bonus content if you like. There we are. I'll leave it there. Right. I need to go and sort out this wash and do a matte varnish before gluing bits together. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you very much to all the new subscribers. I've had quite a few over the last few weeks. Really nice to see you on board. Thanks very much. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, click the bell. It helps my numbers. Click the like and all that kind of stuff, because that helps the algorithm and get it out to more people. I'd like to help. I would like to grow the channel next year. It's already exceeded my expectations already, but it'd be nice to be a little bit bigger. And clicking a few buttons costs you nothing and it helps me out. So thanks very much for that, and I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye bye.